Okay, very nice. We are done it. We're up to our final recording now. I'll ask you an inquisitive question. Remember, it's not just a question. We don't want to just say a question. There's lots of things that are questions. If I ask you how your day is, that's one type of question. If I say, Beryl, what are you talking about? That's also a question, but it's a totally different type of question. I have a question against you. And Ibailahu doesn't mean I have a question against you. It just means like I'm asking, Beryl, how's your day going? It's an inquisitive question. I want to know. What's going on. Is it like this or is it like that? So Ibailahu. I'll ask you an inquisitive question. Rabbi Yehuda, plag mincha kama ka'amar. When Rabbi Yehuda said something very vague. He said you could daven mincha up until plag ha-mincha. Plag mincha, till halfway through the mincha period. But we just finished learning that there are two different time periods which are called mincha. There's something called mincha gidola, and there's something called mincha kitana. So when could you daven mincha until, according to Rabbi Yehuda, could you daven up until plag mincha kama, the first plaga mincha, which means the plaga mincha of mincha gidola, because that's the first one you'll reach, right? Mincha, if you take the whole time period of mincha gidola, which is at 6.5 hours up until 12 hours into the day, and you divide that in half, that point will be plaga mincha. Okay? So it's about in a regular day, in a day when when a shazmania is 60 minutes, then it will be at, I believe it's 3:15 in the afternoon. Will be plag mincha kama. Oh, plag mincha achrona kamar, or is it plag mincha achrona, the second plaga mincha, the last plaga mincha? In other words, the plaga mincha of mincha kitana kamar, right? Because mincha kitana starts 3 hours after mincha gidola, so the plaga mincha halfway through its time period is going to be later than the plaga mincha of when you make calculation of mincha of halfway through the mincha gidola period. Okay, so o plaga mincha achrona kamar, question mark. Okay, so this is our inquiry. Does Rabbi Yehuda mean halfway through the first mincha period, or does he mean halfway through the last mincha period? Let's see. So says the Gemara, I'll bring you a proof. Tashema, a traffic sign, okay? Literally it means come in here, but it's not going to say come in here like what's the weather like, okay? It's not going to do that. Tashema always means to be come and hear an answer to the question that we have been dealing with. Okay, that means that there's a question that we're dealing with, and we're going to then afterwards you'll see the words Tashema, come and hear. Tashema, come in here. Titania, for we learned in a brisa. Titania, we learned in a brisa. How do I know it's a brisa? Again, remember, look. Tafnon, it's from a Tanaim. Titania, for we learned in a brisa from the Tanaim. Rabbi Yehuda says, Plaga mincha achrona. Amru. Plaga, he said it straight out. This is a brisa. It says Rabbi Yehuda was much clearer. He did straight out. Rabbi Yehuda says, Plag ha-mincha achrona amru. He said plag ha-mincha achrona. Okay, vihi, what is that? Vihi yud aleph shos chaser revia, which is yud aleph, which is the gematria of 11. Yud is 10 and aleph is 1. Yud aleph shos 11 hours, but not full 11 hours. Chaser missing. Chaser means like we had in the last page. Remember in the last page we had v'chesaron lo yuchol lihimanos. Chaser means to be missing. Chaser revia, a quarter. Reva is a quarter. Chaser revia, so it's 11 hours minus a quarter of an hour. In other words, 10 hours and 45 minutes into the day. So, which is, by the way, if the show's manios are 60 minutes, this would be 4:45 p.m. Okay, meaning if the sun is going to go down at 6 o'clock, and midday is at 12 o'clock, so we're referring to 4:45 p.m. That's when Rabbi Yehuda said you could say mincha until. So that's the end of that. Now the Gemara, one last piece until the 2 dots. Says the Gemara, Nema, let us say, Tahave tiyofta, let it be a disproof. Tiyofta means not just a kasha, but it means a total disproof. Nema Tahave tiyofta. Let it, this brisa, which connects tefillah to karbanos, be a total disproof of the opinion of Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina, who said that tfilos was made by the fathers, right? Rather, we see that tfilos is really made by the chachamim to be in the place of karbanos. The karbanos tamid came after their forefathers even lived. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they didn't live at a time that there were karbanos. So you can't be that tefillah is connected to it comes from the karbanos, if it was Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov made it. So let's say that the Brisa is a disproof on Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina. So this is what the Beis Medrash is suggesting. Okay, the Beis Medrash they were suggesting name it to have it to the Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. Let it be a contradiction, a total disproof of the opinion of Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. Says the Gemara, no. The Beis Medrash says no. If Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina were here, he would have a good answer on your question. Amar lecha Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina would say to you, La'olam. The truth of the matter is, La'olam. The truth is, Eima lecha tfilos avos tiknam. I will say to you, Eima lecha. I will say to you, tfilos avos tiknam. Our forefathers established them. Va'asmechinu rabbanon akarbanos. But the chachamim came along and they attached it to karbanos as a sign to help us remember when you could daven until. They took it and they supported their takana of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with the karbanos. They said, let's give it similar halachos as the karbanos. But really, who made the tfilos? That was Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And I'll show it to you. I'll prove, said the good person in the Beis Medrash, I'll show you that Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina would have answered that. Of course, Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina holds that in some way, tefillah is connected to karbanos as well. Even though it originally was made by Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, but really tefillahs are connected to the karbanos. How do I know? That if lo teimachi, if you do not say this, that tefillos Musaf, Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina, man tikna. The tefillah of Musaf, according to Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, man tikna, who established that? What are you going to say about that? If you look, Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov, they established Shacharis, Mincha, Mariv, but they didn't make Musaf. So where did Musaf come from? So man tikna, it's a question mark. It's a rhetorical question, okay? So we made that funny sign, right? RQ. Remember? I think who was that? Who made that? Yonatan. You had that cool sign for the RQ. Maybe it was Noach. Yonatan. Man tikna. Who established it? Man tikna. Who established it? So it says the Gemara. Ela tfilos avos tiknam. It's a good proof. Avos tiknam. Our forefathers established it. V'asmechinhu rabbanon akarbanos, and our forefathers and the chachamim asmechinhu, they supported it with the idea of karbanos. So certainly the idea of tefillah is connected to karbanos. That's the Gemara's maskana. The maskana means the conclusion. The Gemara concludes that tefillah is connected to karbanos without a doubt. The question is did our forefathers establish it originally? They were the first ones who made tefillah, and then the chachamim came along and they supported the tefillah with the karbanos. They made some connections between tefillah and karbanos, or not, or maybe like Rabbi Shimon Levi, that tefillos were entirely established from Anshe Knesset Gedola, and it's entirely connected to the karbanos. Okay, here we are. We've done it. Baruch Hashem. 4 lines in the bottom, by the 2 dots, we have gotten to our goal. If you have this for the break, if you just use this for the break, you're going to be a shining star. You will have this, you all have to listen to it once, maybe twice, review the Gemara once, twice, and you'll be in the Gemara, it'll be in you. You'll feel it, you'll get such a pleasure from it. You'll have it so clear. Enjoy your vacation, have a great time. I can't wait to see you again.